Day 34 of the Corona trial ends with senator judges beginning to ask the defense panel questions on the bank accounts of Chief Justice Renato Corona. Day 34, the length of it was devoted to the testimony of former Manila Mayor Lito Atienza, who testified about the negotiated sale of a property of the Basa Guidote Enterprises Incorporated in Sampaloc, Manila, to the city government of Manila. So, Mayor Atienza said that he met with Mrs. Corona and his wife, the Chief Justice, to discuss the sale of the property. Initially, they did not agree to the offer of the city government to pay for the lot for 25,000 pesos per square meter, but eventually they reached an agreement on the sale for the amount of 34,000 per square meter, amounting to a payment of 34.7 million pesos for the entire property. Now, what actually came out of his testimony was that the defense showed a certification proving that Mrs. Corona was authorized by the board of the company to act as an agent and to enter into this sale of the property. So the defense showed that, and they said this proves that Mrs. Corona had the authority, in fact, to act on behalf of the company. So that was the board certification. Also, another crucial issue was the check issued by the Manila City government. There were questions as to why the check was named to Mrs. Corona in trust for Basa Guidote Enterprises instead of just naming the check for the company, which after all owns the property. So we saw that the prosecution and some senator judges tried to ask this question of Atienza, but the former Manila mayor said that was done to secure the payment. He said that it was an additional security measure so that someone will be accountable or responsible for that amount. But again, this raised questions on who actually owns that money now, because the prosecution said that Mrs. Corona allegedly misappropriated that amount and deposited it in her own personal account rather. And eventually, apparently it turned out that the Chief Justice loaned a sum of 11 million pesos to buy the La Vista property. So, other questions from the senator judges related to supposed irregularities in the sale, but the defense said, and the senator judges were also saying that this was irrelevant to Article 2 of the impeachment complaint, and this is not the proper venue for to tackle those alleged irregularities. Now, a crucial point was when Senator Ralph Recto began to relate the information gathered today to Article 2. So he was asking about the bank account withdrawals of the Chief Justice on December 12, 2011. He was trying to see how the money adds up, that 34 million pesos. But Lead Defense Counsel Serafin Cuevas took exception to this and said that the defense should not be made to explain the evidence of the prosecution, and the impeachment court should wait for the defense to present its own evidence. So we will see that when we return after the break. So for the past 2 weeks, the defense has presented evidence on the impeachment complaint and also covering the properties of the Chief Justice. What for them only belong to him are the 5 properties, so they have established that according to them so far. After 2 weeks of presentation, when we return after the break on May 7, we expect now the defense panel to explain the bank accounts of the Chief Justice. And of course, the contentious issue of all is the dollar deposits, the dollar accounts of Corona, which are still the subject of a temporary restraining order of the Supreme Court. So we have this break for the senator judges to evaluate all the evidence so far and to spend their Holy Week break. So we will see how this will all turn out when we return on May 7th. Thank you for joining us in the first 34 days of this historic trial on Rappler.com. Join us once again as the trial reopens on May 7. I'm Ayi Makaraig for Rappler.